This is going out to you heavy Tim followers, you steady Tim supporters, you ready Tim writers. Everybody plays the fool sometimes. I mean, that's how the song goes. There's no exception to the rule. Everybody plays the fool sometime. But you woeful Tim worshipers, on the other hand, you guys have chosen. They have no choice. They're just following their pastor. Okay. You woeful Tim worshipers have chosen to play the fool all the time. And I'm like, oh my goodness. We get played the fool sometimes. It should be sometimes, not all the time. Like when my wife says she's going out to the grocery store to pick up a few items. And I'm like, all right, honey, I'll see you in a little while. She comes back a couple hours later and she's got 10 bags of groceries. And she's got some bags from the Walmart. I got played the fool. It happens to all of us some of the time. Or when the kid says, well, Dad, I'm going over to the library to do some studying. And I'm like, all right, that's a good kid. Go do that studying. And I find out later that he went out on a date with his girlfriend. I'm like, all right, I got played the fool. Everybody gets played the fool sometime. But you heavy Tim followers, you guys get played the fool all the time. Okay? Now, we all thought that when Tim created the Resurrection Ranch channel, that it was going to document Grandma Lily's journey. And we were like, oh, finally we get to see what Grandma Lily is up to. Finally we get to see what things are important in her life. Maybe learn a little bit about her history, about her past, and about her family structure, her hobbies, etc., etc. We got played a fool. It's okay. It happens to everybody sometimes. Of course, we later found out that that Resurrection channel was all about Tim. All about more and more and more Tim. We all get played the fool sometime. Now, lately we're wondering who really got played the fool. All right. We wondered whether it was just us viewers that got played the fool. And then we wondered whether it was Grandma Lily that got played the fool when she signed that contract. That woeful contract that you woeful Tim worshipers would sign in an instant if your pastor asked you to, or rather, if your pastor told you to. Email your pastor. Matter of fact, do it now. Email your pastor now. You heavy Tim followers, email your pastor right now and say, Pastor, send me a contract so I can sign it. I want to be played a fool. My coach would gladly sign you up. Gladly. Whether it's notarized or not. Whether it's legally binding or not. My pastor would love to make a fool of you. I'm sorry, your pastor. My coach. Let's not get those twisted. All right? And so everybody gets played the fool sometime. I just suggest that you woeful Tim worshipers get up off of your knees. Get up off of your knees. And I know you guys are like, hey, Captain, if I want to be on my knees, if I want to live on my knees, Captain, let me live. What did it say? Live and let live. If I want to live on my knees, Captain, let me live on my knees. And I'm like, get up off of your knees. Okay, they say that if you don't stand for something, if you don't stand sometimes, you're going to fall for anything. And in my coach's case, in y'all's pastor's case, apparently some of you guys are happy to fall for everything. All the time. So this is going out to you guys. You steady Tim supporters. It's going out to you guys. You ready Tim riders? This is going out to you guys. All right. But before I get to my reaction, I do want to give a shout out to those of you guys that have been active in the comments. I do want to say I appreciate the commentary. Keep that commentary flowing. Keep that dialogue going both ways. And of course, I do have to recognize you ready Tim writers, of course. I do have to recognize you guys. I hear you guys. I see you guys in the comments. talking about Captain. That's what they say. Captain. They don't call me Captain. They call me something else. Oh, really? What do they use? The H word? The J word? The O word? The G word? The L word? Okay, all right. Well, my interpretation for what they call me and other reactors in the comments is my interpretation is they're saying Captain, Captain. I'm going with that. Okay? Because I know that many of these folks are so-called Christians, and the names and the vitriol that they put in the comments sometimes is a little bit surprising. But when we consider that apparently they worship at the church of Tim, I guess I can understand some of the tone within their comments. But they say Captain, Captain. Some captain you are. Captain, you don't even have a farm. I'm like, yeah, I don't have a farm. I never said I did. They're like, Captain, you don't even have a mini barn. I'm like, all right. I do have a shed. It's not a competition, but my shed is bigger. It's larger than Tim's supposed shed shack called Ernest. And it actually has 4 walls and a door and a completed roof. But it's not a competition. But they're like, hey, you don't have a barn. They're like, you don't have a mini barn. You don't have a diseased pigsty, Captain. All right, I'm like that. True that. All right, it's all, yeah. Of course it's true I don't have that stuff. But bear in mind, I am the captain. All right. My coach, he insists upon me watching that game tape, upon me watching the game film. All right. And so although I hear what you guys are saying, and although you guys be wilding in the comments, I have to digress. Welcome back to the end game, where today I'm going to give my reaction to the recent Resurrection Ranch video, the long-awaited Resurrection Ranch video. And I was starting to think that the Resurrection Ranch had become obsolete as far as Tim's priorities go, as far as his monetization goals go. I was starting to think that the Resurrection Ranch had served its purpose and had become obsolete. But here we go. Another Resurrection Ranch video finally popped up. This one was titled something like The Kitchen Renovation Begins. And so I'm going to provide my reaction to that video here. Early in the video, my coach, y'all's pastor, he provides some goofy explanation about his background music and about how he's only able to secure a certain amount of Christian music, certain amount of music. And so that's why he uses secular music. And he tries to convince you guys that sometimes the music fits the script. It fits the plot, as he says. And so I'm like, okay, all right, Tim. But while he's saying that, I'm listening to the music that he chose at that given point in time. And for some reason, the lyrics are talking about fake it until you make it. And I'm like, okay, well, if that does not fit the plot, coach, if that does not fit the plot, fortunately, your heavy Tim followers, they don't listen that carefully. They don't listen that closely. And they definitely don't observe the obvious. But that background music at that moment was talking about fake it till you make it. A couple seconds later, it was talking about something about give it to me, mama. And I'm like, what does that have to do? What does that have to do with the script? And I'm like, there's plenty of secular music that you could choose. There's plenty that you could have chosen. All right. But you are the coach.
I can't see to shake it. It's the same kind of feeling. I thank you till I make it. I thank you till I make it. I thank you till I make it. Yes, I'm rocking it like we had. Give it to me, mama.
Later in the video, Tim shows us the layout or the future layout for Grandma Lily's kitchen. And we're looking at the layout, and of course, we notice that it's absent of cabinets. I guess there's some cabinets below the counter level. It's absent of cabinets. It's what Tim calls this open kitchen. And all we have to do is look around the kitchen as it is now. Not to mention other rooms in the house. And we can see that just like many elderly men and women, when they get up in age, they have amassed many items, and they need a place to put them. And so even in Grandma Lily's kitchen, you can see she's got her spices. She's got canisters. She's got boxes. She's got snacks. Of course, she has pots and pans. And she needs some place to put those things. And Tim talks about, oh, well, we're going to try to go with this minimalization, this minimizing mindset. And I'm like, okay, all right. You may be thinking that, but Grandma Lily, she's 70. Okay. She should not have to cut back what she considers to be necessities. She should not have to cut back the quality or reduce the quality of her life, her daily life, for the sake of what you consider to be what she needs, the minimal amount that she needs. And so I'm like, oh my goodness, clearly she needs some place to store all of those items, clearly. And I don't know what type of budget someone would create whereby a new kitchen, a supposed new kitchen, is erected that is non-functional. Okay? Non-functional. I mean, looking at what she has already, she's not going to be able to store even half of those items, let alone the coffee maker. I think the coffee maker is the only thing that shows up. It's the only thing that shows up in the plans. Okay, where's she going to put the toaster, the griddle, the waffle maker? Where's she going to put all that stuff? Oh my goodness. And then not to mention, obviously, she has plenty of other grandchildren. She has cousins and nieces and nephews that are going to be visiting her. And that kitchen is going to get a lot of use. It's going to get way more use than the kitchen within Emma. Okay? Clearly, at Emma, the only people that use that kitchen are my coach and Megan. And I guess the boys pass through when it's time for them to eat at that little card table. But you got a few people that use the kitchen at Emma. At Grandma Lily's ranch, there's going to be tons of people flowing in and out of that kitchen. So she needs to have a kitchen that's truly functional for her. She needs to be able to store items. She needs to be able to pull out items for easy use. And at this point, that layout is unsatisfactory. Unfortunately, based upon the contract that Grandma Lily signed, I guess she's just going to have to live with it. And she's going to have to continue to store some of those items in some of those other rooms. But holy moly.
So let me take y'all back to this diagram. And so you can see that we're getting rid of that, getting rid of that china cabinet right there. And we're going to go with more of an open. So the end of that cabinet right there, where you see that seated, that's where that china cabinet was at. And so we're gonna open that up because the kitchen is kind of like a box back here, and we're just trying to open it up. And so you can see we're gonna open that part up right there. We're gonna shift from this section over here having upper cabinets in that corner, and we're pretty much gonna stay the same, but we're gonna go more, if I can get the thing stop flipping back, but we're gonna go more like that right there. Like I said, pretty much the same concept, but we're gonna put like a pantry right here on this side of the refrigerator, and then we're gonna still have cabinets up top, but there's gonna be open shelving there, as you can see in this diagram. You don't see the open shelving there. And then over here, we're gonna get rid of this old vendor hood. We're gonna get rid of all these cabinets. We're gonna rip all this stuff out, but we're gonna get rid of these upper cabinets here. Like I said, it's just kind of outdated. The style is more now to do like an open vent hood and then do open shelves on the side. So you can kind of see that there. That's why you don't see anything up there, because we're gonna have a vent hood and then open shelves, and then you can see where that window is at, and you can see that the sink is still gonna be turned the same way as you see in the diagram, but instead of having these cabinets up top here, it's gonna be open, And we're not gonna do open shelves because we thought about bringing a false wall there, just like that is right there.
A little bit later in the video, we see the guy, I guess the box truck driver or the cabinet delivery guy. We see him unloading boxes from the truck. Tim asked the guy, let me know if you need a hand. And then Tim proceeds to watch the guy struggle with these boxes. Let me know if you need a hand. All right. And then just watches him struggle. But of course, Tim goes further than struggling. Tim goes further than watching the guy struggle. Tim actually leans over his shoulder and films the guy struggling. And I'm like, if that's not a slap in the face, Tim, okay? And so you, at the very least, you could have done like Megan did back when you guys were bringing those heavy coolers full of meat into the house. And Megan actually grabbed one handle with one hand while she balanced the camera in the other. And so, Tim, it seems as though if Megan could do that to help out, then surely, Tim, you could have helped out that guy at least with one hand. If you insist on filming, manually and not putting the camera into a tripod or on a tripod stand of some sort, you could have at least lent a hand, literally a hand. But you just watched the guy struggle. We watched him struggle. I guess you got some good content out of that. One thing that was also notable in some of the shots that you took was that we got to see Grandma Lily back in uniform. And I'm just like, okay, we understand it's a script. We understand that it's a show. But how many military veterans choose to walk around in full military garb all day? Full military garb from head to toe. And that includes the army boots. Okay? We're like, okay, you guys are really going over the top with this. Tim, I'm sure that is at your urging. I'm sure Grandma Lily would rather dress in some more comfortable attire, some more appropriate attire for a retired woman. But we do understand the show must go on. Yes, Coach?
Y'all, so we got a lot of the boxes in here, and I thought he was done, but he actually said he got a few more, and I can kind of see the ones that kind of got the same labels on there. And like I said, these are all custom built cabinets, and they like made them based off of the diagram and based off of like the blueprints and everything that Mike at Home Depot drew up for us. So these are gonna be custom cabinets to fit this kitchen. And so this kitchen is gonna go from just being just a thrown together thing that they put together when they built this mobile home to being like a customized kitchen. And I can't wait to get the cabinets in and start working on the open shelving and everything. You excited about it, Mama?
I am very.
Near the end of the video, Tim gives us some nonsense, really nonsense for everybody but the most dedicated Tim followers. He gives us this nonsense explanation about how moving fast is really moving slow. And I'm like, okay, Tim, we've gotten accustomed to you twisting Bible verses. We've gotten accustomed to you slurring scripture, providing your interpretation, to you giving application of the Bible, interpreting it and applying it however you see fit. We've accepted the fact that you act first and then you consult the Bible later. We already accept that as being par for the course, Tim. But you saying that moving fast is actually moving slow, It's hard to sit here with a straight face on that one, Coach. You talk about how working on the chicken hutch, working on that rabbit coop, that defective rabbit coop is somehow the same as working on the ranch, somehow the same as working on the interior of Amazing Grace. Working on that hutch is somehow similar to you working on adding some excitement, adding some amazement, moving toward completion of the mobile home, of Lily's mobile home. But it's hard, Coach. It's hard to sit here without laughing on that one, Coach. You also talk about the fact that 2 years is not a long time. I'm not sure who you're trying to convince of that. I mean, what would you say next? 5 years is not a long time? 10 years is not a long time? I'm not sure what you would say next, but you informed us that 2 years is not a long time. You talked about the fact that you're working on the cabinets. And the delivery of the cabinets got delayed. You kind of let it slip that there was some issue with the pricing. Of course, our interpretation is that you tried to hustle those cabinet makers. You tried to hustle them in some fashion on the pricing. Probably some pricing that you had already agreed to, that you had already signed to. And you were trying to finagle the situation more so to your advantage. You talk about the fact that because you're using cash, you could just cancel the order. Although if somebody used credit, they couldn't cancel the order. I'm like, okay, all right. Now you're doing credit consultation, Coach. Some people would say it's easier to cancel the order when it's done on a credit card, than it is to cancel the order when it's done with cash or paid with cash. But you Heavy Tim followers, if you guys can follow that logic, have at it. Have at it.
It may seem like we're moving slow, but in actuality, we're moving faster at a faster pace than somebody that moved fast and tried to do it real fast and throw it up and get it done. And it's like, it may seem like we're moving slow, but in actuality, we're moving faster at a faster pace than somebody that moved fast and tried to do it real fast and throw it up and get it done. And it's like, we're saying, we almost like called it off and said, hey, we don't even want those cabinets anymore. But we wouldn't have had that what's the word I'm looking for? We wouldn't have had that resolve, or we wouldn't have been able to stand on that foundation and say, hey, if you don't want my money, I'll take it and go spend it somewhere else. If we had already tore the cabinets out, the old cabinets out, we would have felt like we were forced to do it. But at the end of the day, they like did what they needed to do to make sure that we were pleased with these new cabinets, with the price and everything, because we still were in control. Like we weren't in debt. Because anytime you like the Bible says, the borrower is slave to the lender. And so if we would have been in debt for these cabinets, we wouldn't have had a choice but to take them. We had already signed, our name on the dotted lines. And so we would have had to take them, whether we were pleased or not, once we signed our name. And so because we were paying for them in cash, we could still make demands, and say, hey, I haven't paid for them yet. So if, all the work y'all have done, we'll just go somewhere else and take our money somewhere else if y'all don't want to do things how we want them to be done.
All right. That's it for my reaction to that recent Resurrection Ranch video about the kitchen renovation begins. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Chop it up in the comments. Burner Tim and your heavies, I expect to see you guys present in the comments, doing what you do as usual. I want to shoot out some love to my current subscribers. Thank you for showing me that love. For those viewers who have not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing so that we can continue to shine that light. Until next time.